have no idea where the dirty Q-tip is. The dirty Q-tip is snow. Hey, no rough housing. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Obviously, if you're new here, my name's Lacey, and we have cows, pet cows. I figured that not only could we do like a quick reintroduction of just me, my farm, for any new peeps or any people that are curious, but then we could also just do some updates, because a lot of people have followed me because they found me on TikTok, and TikTok's algorithm can be very goofy in the sense that like you can see videos that are like 2-3 months old, and unless you're checking my account daily, you can't really stay up to date super well. So we're just gonna go over just, you know, there's been some characters, some main character energy, and everyone's curious who's still left a calve and what's going on moving forward. Now we're gonna adjust from going from winter to spring activities. So let's get into it. Let these two cuties lick each other in the background while I talk about, hi, my name's Lacey. I'm 25. I live in Southern Ohio, and I have pet cattle. Now the reason we call them pets, we are not a sanctuary. I have not rescued these cattle. They have all but 4 of them have been born and raised on this farm. The reason why is because originally my grandfather got very into show cattle, beef show cattle, and he got me and some of my cousins and my brother into it, and so we grew our herd so that we could have calf crop, which is basically just me and my brother would want calves to show at our local fair, and so we started getting cattle so that we could have calves to show, and then we kept them and raised them to have more show calves, and because they all ended up being very friendly and we would get attached, and you know, the rest is history. Fast forward, and I aged out of 4-H and FFA, but me and my dad both looked at each other and were like, we love having these animals. Like, there's no just getting rid of them for us. So now we continue to have them. And that's what I'm saying, like a lot of my girls, blue, I showed when I was a sophomore in high school. Red, I showed when I was a freshman in high school. Like, we've had them since they were itty bitty babies, and they are like pets now, they're family. And so we couldn't just get rid of them. And so now what I do is I raise calves to hopefully sell for 4-H and FFA projects. That's why we continue to have a calf crop every year. That's a question a lot of people ask, is they're like, well, if they're just pets, why do you breed them? And that's the answer. Now, that does make us a little bit of money. We've never ever made more than what we spend on them, and that is why we both have our own jobs. My dad owns his own business, I own my own business, and I do social media full time. So that's why I always tell people the best way to support me and my ladies is to watch my videos. You know, check out my other links. You can join Patreon if you want to be able to name calves and have early access, but you don't have to. And then, you know, you can shop from my Etsy that is very heavily based around my cattle. But that is what we do. Eventually, my goals, my aspirations are to turn it into more of a sanctuary. I would love to open my farm once I build my house up on the hill and I have my own barn lot with a barn and everything. I would love to be able to open my farm to, you know, rescuing animals, animals being surrendered to my farm, because that's always been a goal of mine. I love animals of all types, and I would just love to be a safe place for all animals to be able to grow and just live a happy life, especially livestock, because I think that they're always, there's not enough places for them to go if they need to be surrendered or rehomed. But that is basically the spiel on Lacey. That's why we have cattle, that is why they're pets, and that is what we do with them. Now, sometimes if calves aren't show calves, we do have to sell just because of sheer numbers. You can only have so many cattle on land because we always have to be cautious of the environment and making sure that we are doing good by the earth, because we only have one of them and we need to treat earth with respect. So we can't overpopulate the ground, because then that's hard on the cattle and it's hard on the ground. So we can only have about 35 cows is our like cap. Sometimes we can push it to 40 and still be okay, but 35 is about our max usually. So that's sometimes why we sell as well. And there's also unforeseen things that can come up, like we had our milk thieves that we had to get rid of, and we actually are going to be doing some selling here in about a month, and I'll explain that to you. As far as babies go, we are still at our number 4. The 3 right here hanging out are Onyx, Phoenix, and then Olive. Nora has been hanging out by the barn with her mom just because she is still healing. If you guys didn't know, Friday we had to go to the vet. Somebody is cleaning themselves. But Friday we went to the vet because she was limping a little bit Thursday, and it turned out she had an umbilical infection that caused some arthritis in her front left knee joint. She seems to be doing a lot better. She will get another dose of antibiotics on Tuesday because they sent me home with an injection. And if she is doing better, then fantastic. If not, I'll have the vet come out or I'll take her again because we want to make sure that she is happy, healthy, and good to go. They were in the barn, but mother decided to disrespect her surroundings, being Eleanor, and they broke out. And since it's not like an abscess or an open wound, I was fine with them not being in the barn because I want to keep mom happy, and if mom doesn't want to be in the barn, I might as well just let her, you know, be out. And it didn't bother anything because Nora has still made it to where she does not have to venture out and wander a lot, and mom has stayed with her. So all good on that front. We're putting more weight on our foot. Good job. Before, she wasn't even putting any weight at all. She wasn't even like letting it go down. So the fact that she is putting weight on it is definitely a good sign. There's also not as much swelling in that knee joint. Look at the little tooties. Hi, Toogies. Hi, new babies. You're so cute. I love you. Ugh, I can't get enough of the babies. Another update from somebody that had a little bit of an issue. Miss Salem, if you know from TikTok, she had a little bit of pink eye. But as you can see, both of her eyes are clear and clean. That healed up really well. I sprayed some of the you know what, words are hard today, but I sprayed some medicine on it and she has come out of it flawlessly. She's death staring the camera because she is the one that is most intrigued. If you watch some of the TikToks and on Instagram, I posted a video of a blooper where a cow was like aggressively sniffing the camera. That's Salem. She's always so curious about my phone and the camera. Every time it's out, she always comes up to it. So she is definitely wants more camera time apparently. But yeah, it was that eye right there that was goopy and nasty, but it has come around perfectly, and so she has healed up great, which I appreciate because pink eye is pretty common, so we normally treat it ourselves, but obviously we monitor because if it does go into a more, you know, bad case, we for sure want to get that taken care of. I've mentioned it a couple times, but I'll mention it again for the people curious. Ginger is the one who lost little Larry, unfortunately, and she has come around fine. Cattle really do mourn the loss of a baby, but they also do heal. And so she has been able to heal quite nicely. She really hasn't been concerned since, and so that's really good. She does have some hair loss, and so I'll briefly explain to you because every year cattle people have to deal with lice. It's very frustrating, very annoying. It is treatable though, and we do that every year. I bought some while I was at the vet because I treat them once a month, and it's inevitable. It's like your animal's getting lice or your animal's getting fleas. You have to just treat them, and it has to be preventative. So we have the treatment, they will get it, and hopefully that will get rid of all the damn lices, because as soon as it switches to spring weather, lice come out for the cattle, and we obviously want to make sure that they go away because they're annoying. Blue, we are still waiting on you to calve, my darling. Blue is one of the ladies that are still left to calve. I don't know what she's waiting on. Maybe, you know, what are you doing over there? Just licking your face? Just licking your little nose? Okay. But yes, Blue is still left to calve, as well as Bo Peep right here and Phoebe. They are left to give us adorable little babies. I do not know when they are going to, but they don't have a lot of like super close signs. I know when the vet palpated, the first calf heifers were very behind the rest of the gals. If I had to guess, I would say Phoebe and Blue would be the next closest, but they still might be a couple weeks to maybe a month. Phoebe doesn't look like she has much of an udder. And then Scarlet, Bo Peep, and Maybelline, which Maybelline's up there by the red little barn, they all probably 2 months, I'd say. And then Leona was only like 2 months along when he palpated. So I would say they gonna be just a hot second, and that's okay. You know, we'll have babies whenever. It's fine. I have 4 healthy, happy little heifers that Kaylee can choose from for show calves, and so, you know, that's all we need for right now. And that answers another big question we get, which is like, why do we calve when we do? Because obviously most people, if you're calving for just production, you calve during a more safe time, which would be like spring or summer or fall when it's a lot warmer. But we calve at this time because for the fairs in our area, that's when calves need to be born. So that is why. That's what has dictated when our calving season is. Alrighty, and lastly on the updated scale is, you guys know that Rocco, Jolene, her 2 babies, Oswald and Benny, are across the fields because they had to be separated because that's what we do. Because we don't want to be breeding too much out of turn because we try to have calving season around the same time. So they have been over there. and we're going to bring them back. 1st of April, Rocco will be reintroduced to the herd because obviously it will be time to breed back some of the ladies. Now, there will still be ladies calving. Bulls are no harm to their babies. They're not aggressive creatures to their own babies. So that is no issue there. Jolene probably was bred back at a weird time. We're just going to allow her to breed at weird out of turn times because if you aren't aware, Rocco has to have a designated girlfriend. If he doesn't, he will jump fences and escape constantly. So Jolene came with him. We bought them together from a guy in New York, and it seems that when Jolene is with him, he's calm. Jolene is his peace, and so we just accept that, and that's how we're going to continue. Now, Oswald has been castrated. He is now a steer. You guys know he was my calf born, like I owned his mother, and so he's going to stay on the farm as a pet. There's no way I am parting with him. I made that decision to have him as a non-producing animal and just be a pet on this farm. Now, Benny, Loretta, and Conway are my dad's animals, and so we had to make a best decision for what we were going to do. As you guys know, Benny was going to be another bull for us to use for Rocco's daughters because he had just such a great demeanor, and we really enjoyed having him on the farm, and we do. He's a great guy. He's going to be a great bull, but unfortunately, he is still not tall enough, and at 2 years old, and now he's 2 years and a couple months, cattle are usually about as tall as they're going to get. They could grow still for sure, but Benny is so much smaller than Rocco. I don't think he's physically going to be able to get the job done. And some people might be like, oh, well, like, how's that a problem? Because we have had a bull in the past tear his ACL, and that was a life-threatening injury because trying to get the job done and not being able to. I have a lot of very tall ladies. Snow, Red, Izzy, a lot of those girls are super, super tall. And so there's just no way he's going to be able to get the job done. And so since he can't do that, and we can't just have so many bulls, because we are lucky that Rocco and Benny get along, but once we have to bring another bull in to breed Rocco's daughters, we could have issues. And not knowing where to put Benny, because we don't want him to breed some ladies but not all the ladies, and you know there's some that are short enough that he could breed, so he would have to be separate from all the ladies and Rocco and Oswald, so then it'd be a cluster. Like, we don't have that many fields that we're blessed with to where we can just keep cows in different places and everything, and you can't keep them separate because they're herd animals, so you can't just keep one cow by itself. They don't like that. So Benny will be sold. He's going to be sold as a bull. He's a 2-year-old intact male. There's no way that somebody would buy him and use him at anything other than a bull. Conway is kind of a similar issue. Not only would we not be able to use him on our farm because he is related to almost everybody, you know, he would be related to his sisters that we would want him to breed because, you know, we don't want Rocco rebreeding his daughters. But we also there's not enough room to have just another bull, like I said, because the ladies he would be able to breed would be the same ladies that Rocco's breeding. So he is also going to be sold as a bull, and he will end up making somebody very happy because him and Benny will both go to the same sale barn. And like I said, a farmer will buy them and they will be bulls the rest of their lives. Hello, how are you? Okay, so the last to talk about then on that list is obviously Loretta. Now, as you guys know, Loretta was born a twin with Conway, and when male and female twins are born, there is a very high % chance that the female is a free martin, which basically just means that she is infertile, and in some kind of way, she has become infertile. So basically that happens because there's so much testosterone in the, you know, sac while they're together, and it just causes different kinds of birth defects. So free martins are obviously not ideal because then the female may be infertile, like sterile, and you know that's not quote unquote production quality. For us, it's not as much about that as we had to look at her quality of life, because here's the issue: they are now 6, almost 7 months old, which is weaning age, and so they need to be off of Jolene so that she can get that rest and that break, because once you have calves that big on a mama, it starts to take a toll on them because you have to produce that much milk to sustain those big of calves. They can be more aggressive when they're trying to get milk let down, so she needs to be weaned as well as Conway. And if we kept her, we would have to make sure that she was never around any males, because you cannot test them until they are 15 months of age to see if they are a free martin. And the problem is, one of the biggest ways that cattle are free martins is they will have a shortened vagina. And so basically, if any of my guys tried to attempt to breed her, they could break their penis off inside of her because of how short her vagina is. So not only would that be super painful and now take one of my bulls out of commission, but it would also be super painful for Loretta. So the only other option would be to keep her completely separate from all my herds, like all my animals, until we find out if she's a free martin. But that's very difficult for us because, like I have stated, we don't have a crap ton of different fields, and I would have to make sure I had at least a couple cows with her because it's not fair for her to be by herself, and I don't have that facility. So we are going to sell her. Like I said, at the end of the day, it was my dad's decision because it is his cow. I've stated before, but I'll tell you again in case you're new. I own about half the herd. My dad owns the other half. So at the end of the day, when we make decisions, we have to make them based off of whose cow it is. And that is what my dad chooses. That's what he wants to do. So I just wanted to explain that here because I don't want you guys to think we just sell willy-nilly. It's not something we like to do often. It's something that we really have to think about and we have to have conversations about, because I want to keep all my animals, but because of the fact that we do still breed, we have to be cautious of what we're doing, because I got to make sure I don't have inbreeding. I got to make sure that all my animals are happy, and I have to make sure that nobody is at risk of any kind of danger. So that is what we're going to do. My goal is always to keep happy, healthy girls, and to make sure that we are breeding, but breeding safe, breeding healthy, and obviously I want to make sure that my cows have the best quality life that they can, because they are very special to me. They are all pets to me at this point. So that is what we have to do. They are always number one. But on that note, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed this nice little update just so that you are aware of what's going on. I know that TikTok's hard to keep on track. That's why I really enjoy other platforms like YouTube and Instagram, because it's a little bit easier with the algorithm, and also because who knows what's gonna happen with TikTok, because, you know, stuff's wild over there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. As always, if you have any questions, you can sure drop them below. I love to answer all your guys' questions, and you can subscribe if you want to stay up to date with us. But on that note, I'm going to end this. Remember, I have a meetup with Snow coming up on April 9th, and all my other links are down below. So have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.